So, why are we breeding the cows so early this year? Tonight's offering, probably the strongest cover they've been on since the cows have went out. So we're down to the driest fields left now. We normally have the driest fields grazed by now, but we've all the wettest land grazed now and we're down to the driest fields. But these then have the most grass on because they grow the best all winter because they're not as wet. So we're down to them now. Also, just a reminder, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button now. And if you like the video, hang up and click the like button as well. Both of those things really help our channel out a lot. We really appreciate it. Just look at the graze outs they're getting at the minute. So that was finished there now this evening. That's a field, the second round there. There's probably 600 on it. And this is first round stuff. But even for first round stuff for down here, it looks unbelievably healthy and green. Now we crossed the road. We have to cross the road on this farm. This is the home farm. And half of it has across a little small road. So we have to cross the road. And I hate having to start crossing the road. Now it's just a part of life on the farm here. But I hate having to start. And we've got those two fields, two paddocks down there that you just saw there now, first round. And one 2 hectare field just beside the shed that's left to be grazed over here, and then I'll be crossing the road. So again, if it works out, it'll be that I'll have timed it that the second round will be coming fast enough now that the first round stuff will be left across the road, and I'll go over there at night time. I won't cross the road during the day with cows, only last thing in the evening, first thing in the morning, and they'll eat second round by day, and we'll blend the two of them together then, first at night, second by day, until the second round takes off to where it overtakes the first round, and then it'll be first round or second round by night and first round by day until we get that finished. So let's see if that plan works out. I hear that sound, that crunch sound. I love that. There's cows turning grass into milk. There's no better sound in the world, I think. Notice there's a few more cows down here than there was in the last video. We bought some April calvers. So come on, go ahead, get into the comments there and tell us why we're wrong to do that. Tell us why that makes us bad farmers. Smashing cows though, and even with freeze bands on them there. Not that one, she's ours. Another one there. Another one there. They're not going to calve very late in April either, by the looks of things. And really our type of cow. So really it's the best value we could find. The price of cows is crazy at the minute, and fair play to everyone who's getting the money for the cows, but cows are probably 500 dearer calved than they are buying them in calf. And you know, if you're buying them in April, you lose 2 weeks worth of milk on them in April. It hardly makes any difference to the end line at the end of the year, but 500 dearer, 500 euros dearer to hand out the first day is the biggest issue. But again, tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. like new. A friend of mine had these, bought 2 of these last year, and he's after putting in collars since on cows and didn't have any need for them, and so he just had them. They were spare there, so I went to buy them off him. We already had one here. Anyone who was watching last summer will have remembered in the videos, we had one tail painter. We bought that ourselves, so we've 3 now, which is great. At least we have one for each farm now. So there'll be one for a home here and one for the rent farm. Because last year you'd have tail paint here today and the other farm tomorrow. Now 2 people can tail paint at once. So it's going to speed up the job an awful lot. One modification that he made that I like a lot is he made his own handles for him. Take screws in the top. So they just screw in. Why is everything so difficult with one hand? Yeah, they just shove in there. And he made them to replace this handle. So this is the handle that comes with it. And you have all these adjustments here for different angles. And here you can unscrew this and slide it in and out. It's telescopic to make it longer or shorter. But honest to God, the handle falls off and there'll be more stuff. There's more stuff in the handle of an umbrella, that's the truth. And these are bloody expensive for what they are. There's nothing in this handle. Delicate would be an understatement when it comes to how you need to be with it when you're using it without breaking. So I love the handles that he made, because they're a handle for a lifetime. We'll be lucky to get this year out of that handle. And that's the paint then that comes with it. Look, it's all supposed to be made in Ireland. The paint quality is really good, covers really well, and a drum of it goes a long way because it covers so well. It rubs off well with cows when they're bulling as well. So look, I really can't fault the paint. Great stuff. These things, I don't know, they're fast. They are fast because you can tail paint a lot of cows while you're making from standing down in the pit. But just the quality that you're getting for the price is, for me anyway, it just isn't close enough to where it needs to be. But for the roller part, but the paint is very good. But doesn't it feel like tail paint is going to become one of those things that people talk about? It was something they used to do years ago in the past, and we're not too far away from that being the case. An awful lot of people have collars now. I'd imagine in 5 or 6 years time tail painting will be a thing of the past. Well, we'll still be doing it obviously because we're about 10 years behind everybody else, but the majority of people won't be tail painting, and maybe the majority of people now aren't tail painting anymore. Just let me know in the comments there how many people that watch the videos have collars on cows. Now we have 2 important jobs to get done this morning. One is to tail paint all the cows, because today marks the start of pre-breeding season on both farms. Paul is tail painting on the other farm as well. And there's too many cows here now at the minute, so we need to get 10 more cows to the second farm. So we need to mark them and draft them as they go out into the right and into the shade up there. And the rest of them are going to the field. So it's been busy milking. The bags of milk on come in. They're unreal. Same as before for drafting out the cows. It's any bigger type cows, anything with a red tag, which means we don't want to breed heifers over. Those are the 2 criteria. We only want to get 10, so I'll jump up on every row, check the rear tags. I'll check the size of the cow from down here before I jump up, and that's how we pick out 10. That's a big black type cow, so we'll just mark her there from the top so we see her. There's nobody else that stands out in that row, so we'll jump up. So up here then you can clearly see there's a cow with a red tag. We don't want her here. Should get a blue X. There's another one there with a red tag. And there's the cow with the blue dot. That's a bit big that we don't want here either. So fairly simple. Next is the tail painter. Let's fill that up now. So we're going with red, like I said yesterday, for the start of the season. This just shows that there's no cows bulled or bulling or anything. And we'll go green then from the start of breeding. The paint tin full. Take off the orange top next, screw it onto the bottle, and then turn the hod upside down and screw it onto the roller. Go full on the roller and spun the roller a few times to get a bit of paint on. When you start rolling the cows, then it'll spread the paint out over the whole roller, you'll see that. So there we go. And there's the paint now all over the roller. Just do that now with 110 more. God. We'll draft out these cows now as well. Sit that up there. Drafting crate here is this gate, and me standing at the front of each row. Anyway, 2 blue X's. Blue girls. On now out. Sure. That's it. Simple. Doesn't always go to a plan, but 90% of the time. What does happen is the cows do an awful lot of shitting because everything is brand new. You're not milking as fast as you normally do. You're getting up behind them and checking them, and then you're rolling them with paint, and then you're trying to draft out cows. So you do an awful lot of shitting, so there's much more cleaning up to be done between rows. But I think it's worth it. The alternative would be to run them all through the crush, and that just takes too long. So the more you can do while they're milking, you're getting all the jobs done at the one time. I think that's for the best anyway. I actually managed to find the 10 cows that I want within 4 rows of the start. So now it's just tail painting. Let's speed up a bit. Usually anyone who, you all know that if you're trying to pick out cows, they're nearly all waiting in the last row to be found. We'll take this bonus now. I'm not going to say that the drafting system at the top is a good job. It works most of the time. But you'll come across 3 kind of rows of cows. You'll have the row that comes perfectly one by one, they nearly wait their turn when they see you at the top. You'll have a row that all want to run out into one go, and they're dangerous. And you have the row that none of them want to come out when they see you at the top. So I don't know which is worse now, between the row that wants to all come out into one go, or the row that no one wants to come out. Let me know in the comments which is the worst, anyone who's doing the same system as that. But I just find that probably a week into breeding or 10 days into breeding, then they get used to you standing at the top of the milking parlour and they all kind of behave themselves. It'd be very rare that a cow get out past you, back out to the field that you want to breed after a few days training. Bar they made for that. It's some job. So much better than the one you buy with them. Alright girl, let's go. Even though we don't want to breed out of them, there are 10 nice cows for the other farm. And then there's two that barged their way out. I won't use the word I want to use to describe them. Come on, out to the field with you. Come on. Shh. What? Good girls, go on, out. So, why are we breeding the cows so early this year? Well, we're not breeding early. What we've done by tail-penning the cows is start pre-breeding. So, for anyone who doesn't know, pre-breeding in sporting terms is the training session you do before the kick-off. So, we're 4 weeks out still from breeding. So, we don't breed here till the 1st of May because we don't want calves before really the 28th or 29th of January. So, we tail paint all the cows 4 weeks away from breeding. So when you saw these being painted, it was a Thursday morning and it was done on both farms. The plan now then is for the next 3 weeks, which is a cow's breeding cycle, which you can go up to 28 days, but we'll say 21 days their cycle, okay? So she'll be on heat today, 21 days later she'll be on heat again. That's 3 weeks. So we painted them Thursday. Every Thursday morning now for the next 3 weeks, myself and Paul will check the cows, and any cows that still have tail paint on them will be topped up with fresh paint to keep those fresh, and any cows that are rubbed, so those cows that have cycled, won't be touched. You do that for 3 weeks. At the end of the 3 weeks, you still have 1 week between the end of pre-breeding and the start of actual breeding, and that's a very, very important week. So within that week, you have to get the cows that haven't cycled checked, basically. So first of all, you need to see when they calved. The rule that we use here is every cow over 21 days calved that hasn't been seen cycling. Obviously cows that are under 40 days, that gap between 21 days and 40 days won't cycle anyway. But all those cows from 21 days calved up that haven't been rubbed will be scanned. So that's a pre-breeding scan. So the vet will come out, they'll scan the cow, and they'll be checking for reproductive issues within those cows. So it'll be cysts, they could be dirty after having replaced retained placentas, they could have had difficult calvings, there could be a tear in there could be inflammation, there could be anything that could stop a cow from cycling. So any cows with treatable issues then will be treated on the day by the vet. The cysts will be looked after. If they're dirty, they'll be treated. If there's inflammation there, they'll be treated. And then there'll be some cows who, for some reason or other, are perfectly healthy inside but haven't cycled yet. They could be on a 28-day cycle themselves, and we've just went in a bit early at 21 and haven't got them yet. But those cows will get a PG injection that day because there's no reason they shouldn't have cycled yet. They could have had a silent heat or anything. By injecting them with PG, we'll get them all cycling faster. The cows that are between 21 days and 40 days calved wouldn't be naturally cycling. If they're healthy inside, those go on a CEDAR program. So CEDAR is a hormonal implant. It gets the cows cycling. It stimulates the cow's natural hormone cycle and gets the cow to cycle earlier, much earlier than she would naturally. This is no issue to the cow whatsoever. Doesn't put the cow under any pressure or anything like that. If the cow is healthy after being checked by a vet, there's no reason why she shouldn't be able to cycle early. We'll put a CEDAR into her and we'll get her cycling then faster than she would naturally. The aim of all this and the goal of this, you might look at this and go, why would you put yourself through all that effort? The aim is to get every single cow served that is over 21 days calved on the start date of breeding. All of those cows served within the first 3 weeks, every single one. So there will be 95% of the cows to 98% of the cows served within the first 3 weeks then. And by going in with PG injections for cows that haven't cycled and are healthy and maybe had silent heats, and putting the CEDARs into those cows that are 21 days plus calved, you're getting a serious amount of cows served actually within the first 10 days. You have to give yourself and the cow that time, because the cows that get the CEDARs at 21 days plus are unlikely to hold to first service. But you've got them way ahead that when they naturally cycle in 3 weeks' time, you're only in the first round of breeding still when they'll naturally cycle, and then they'll get hit again. So you'll have cows that get the chance to be bulled twice within the first 3 weeks, some cows, and then everything will be bulled within the first 6 weeks. So the only way to achieve, and we're aiming for a 90% 6 week in calf rate and a minimal empty rate, the only way you'll achieve that is serving as many cows as you possibly can within that first 3 weeks, and identifying the problem cows in the herd. A lot of cows go out of the yards that are empty that were treatable if they could have just been picked up on. So pre-breeding is an unbelievably important job that we do here, and I can really vouch for that because last spring, everyone remembers what last spring was like, but cows were still in full time here on the first week in April, which is when you should be starting pre-breeding, and I honestly didn't have the heart to pre-breed the cows because there would have been heats detected that weren't heats at all from cows rubbing each other in the shed and rubbing each other at feed rails, and you'd have had picked up on fake heats, and it would have been just a mess. But I didn't pre-breed, and as a result of that, now it was a result of feed quality going into cows being very poor during breeding as well. But we had our highest empty rate ever and our worst 6 week in calf rate ever. And I do believe it was because we didn't pre-breed was a massive contributing factor to that. So that's it for today's video. If there's any questions about pre-breeding or you want a more in-depth, detailed look at pre-breeding, I kind of skimmed over it there, the plan roughly, because I'll be talking about it every week at the minute now anyway. You know, you'll see every week when I check the cows whether they're rubbed or not, and you'll see the pre-breeding scan, and you'll see our plan for all those cows. But if anyone wants more info, just message me on our social media, so that's Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, or just leave a comment here underneath and I'll reply to that. I reply to nearly all the comments anyway, or any of them that are worth replying to anyway. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button and like the video if you liked it at any point. And we'll catch up with you again next week.